across much of the country. Trouble is, a lot of areas need rain. Good evening and welcome to Weather Center. I'm Nick Walker.
And I'm Sharon Resultan. We're going to have the details in your Saturday forecast in just a minute. But first, let's see what's happening right now. And I'm going to show you what's going on across the east as we've watched a front moving across the region. And now things looking a little bit better for you into New England, where you've seen some wind and some rain has passed on through, and even some snow showers in some spots. But now that frontal boundary pushing all the way back out over the ocean, the southern extent of the front continues across the south and still finding with a little bit of moisture to work with in Texas, a few showers. We'll discuss that as well. Let's start you out first in the northeast, where again it is pretty quiet. Probably the big story here would be the change in temperatures, and of course you've had some brisk winds, which have made it feel even colder than what the thermometer actually reads. 12 degrees cooler in Albany than where you stood this time yesterday. So again, a fairly significant front. 16 degrees colder into Pittsburgh, and about 12 degrees colder southward toward Norfolk, Virginia. So definitely a chill to the air, leaving you with 46 degrees right now in New York City and Boston, about 39 in Albany. Certainly jacket weather, and we're looking at 50s right now into D.C. and around Baltimore. So pretty chilly air mass indeed. And a little bit of wind. Now wind's letting up a bit from the mid-Atlantic into parts of southern New England, still rather brisk up into the state of Maine and around the Great Lakes region, still finding some wind. So there's still a wind chill to speak of. Not much of one in Boston, about 34 is what it feels like. Feels like 25 though into Albany, and only around 18 northward toward Bangor, Maine. So there are definitely some cool spots as we head into the northeast. Now again, we follow the front on southward, trailing all the way down into the deep south, so it's made some pretty good progress, passing through areas like Atlanta and Birmingham with very little fanfare, just a wind shift and slightly cooler and unfortunately dry air moving back in. Fire danger high as we extend from Maryland all the way down into Georgia. What we need is moisture here, and just not going to find it, except on the tail end of the front. Just a little bit of this, and even this appears to be weakening as we see a few showers moving toward Tyler, Texas along I-20 there, and just a couple of showers here from Roswell, New Mexico, extending through the Midland, Odessa area. And that is about it, folks. That's about all we have to work with for moisture on the map across the south. Much cooler air behind the southern extent of the front, too. And boy, you're really feeling it in Dallas. Almost 20 degrees cooler here than where you stood this time last night. About 12 degrees cooler in Nashville. And that gives you a reading of 60 in Nashville and 57 in Dallas. Some chilly stuff. You had a lot of sunshine in Atlanta, and that warms you up to around 70 degrees, so still above the average for this time of the year, which is in the lower to middle 60s. And it looks like tomorrow will be another day of above average temperatures, but a few degrees cooler than what we've had even as of late. Been kind of spoiled in some parts of the south. Nevertheless, again, a very nice day, fall day across much of the south, and it looks like we'll see another one of those as we take you on into Saturday. Just remember, fire danger very high in parts of the south and other parts of the east. Now is not the time to be out there burning those leaves. With that said, let's go north now and see how things are faring in the Midwest and West. Nick?
And Sharon, it is also very dry here up toward the Midwest as well and into the plains. And you've been on this seesaw ride here as far as...
Wondering how the weather impacts your health and allergies? Weather.com offers everything you need to know. Well, almost everything.
How does that translate for Saturday morning? Well, the morning jog may be a brisk one in parts of the east with some cooler temperatures, but it will be dry for most of you. We are going to watch this next disturbance as it pushes toward northern sections of New England. It does promise a little bit more moisture, and there will be some snow flying, some of the higher elevations, and some of that kind of sticking around as we go through your Saturday evening on into your Saturday night. So keep an eye out for that if you have travel, say, into the Adirondacks, into most of New Hampshire, Vermont, and on even to Maine. You're likely to find some of those travel areas where the ground could be a bit wet due to some of that rainfall. And as we head into the south, pretty quiet too out to the west, but look at this, that's our next system. We'll be watching that one very, very closely because that will mean a big shift in the pattern out to the west, bringing some moisture in for the latter half of the weekend. There's a look at how much rain you can expect for the overnight, a cool night for just about all of the nation, and that will lead to a chilly day for you in the Great Lakes and Northeast, but warming up nicely in the plains and south.
Well, let's look at tomorrow. What about the trends for all of next week?
Good idea. We'll take a look at that. Quiet. Clouds are lingering into much of the Northeast, but not producing much in the way of precipitation. Maybe a sprinkle or two here and there, but for the most part, all that rain is said and done. Temperatures are much cooler, though. It's 13 degrees colder in Albany than just this time yesterday. 17 degrees colder in Pittsburgh, and about 13 degrees colder down toward Norfolk. So you're feeling the chill after this front has pressed on through. General flow coming at you out of the northwest, so it is tugging down some cooler air. 37 degrees in Albany right now, 45 in Boston, 47 in New York, into the 30s over much of Maine. Factor in the winds here, and we do have a wind chill to speak of, with some of those wind chills pretty cold stuff. Caribou, Maine, it feels like 12 right now, 22 into Bangor, and 25 as far north as Burlington, Vermont. So there are definitely some chilly spots. Wind chill of 34 in Boston and 30 in Buffalo. So you want to take care to really cover up and make sure the kids are bundled up if you're out there running some of those Friday night errands. We'll take you southward. We'll follow the frontal boundary all the way into the deep south, and I don't see any green here. Boy, we need to see some moisture across this part of the nation. Do you know, in some cases, it has been a month to a month and a half of no significant or substantial rainfall? By substantial, we're defining that as half an inch or more. I mean, something that will really just soak the ground and do some good here. Haven't seen that. Jacksonville, Florida, it has been since September 23rd that you've seen a significant amount of rainfall. And it's been a long time, too, into Knoxville, Columbia, Birmingham, and even into Atlanta. So we desperately need to see some rain. Not going to find it this weekend. It's going to be dry. So the moral of the story is, do not go out there and burn your leaves. Don't do anything like that because it is just tinder dry over much of the south, and in fact, even on up into the state of Maryland, there are some problems with that and red flag alerts. So do watch out for dry conditions. We have a little bit of rain to speak of, and this is the one, if you could call this impressive radar, that I could find showing a little bit of green on the map, and even these appear to be weakening, these showers, as they head off to the east. So very tranquil indeed. There is some cold air to talk about. It is certainly much colder in Dallas than it was just 24 hours ago, almost 20 degrees colder, so that front has definitely cooled you down in the Big D. You're at 57, 66 around Atlanta, about where you should be for your high temperature this time of the year. So you've fared pretty well temperature-wise, and still looking at some upper 60s and lower 70s right now as we head on into Florida. So that's the story across the east. Let's see if it's just as dry as we go northward and westward. Here's Nick with details.
Well, we are seeing some dry conditions here throughout the plains and even back towards some areas of the west, too. Not only dry, but also warm. Did you have one of those paddle balls when you were a kid, you know, the ball that went back and forth and back and forth? That's